Season 2, Episode 4, Malcolm X, Discipline, Dignity, and the Cost of Truth. A man who stands for nothing will fall for anything. Malcolm X. Malcolm Little did not begin his life as a symbol. He began it as a boy, marked early by chaos. His father, Earl Little, was a Baptist preacher and an outspoken supporter of black self-reliance. That made him a target. So when Malcolm was still a child, his father was killed, officially ruled an accident, but widely believed to be the work of white supremacists. His mother Louise slowly unravelled under the pressure of grief and poverty, eventually institutionalized. The family was split apart. What Malcolm learned early was not philosophy. It was instability. It was rage. It was the sense that the world was hostile and indifferent. By his teenage years, Malcolm was running. Drugs, crime, hustling. Prison felt inevitable, and when it came, it did not surprise him. What did surprise him was what prison gave him. Prison stripped Malcolm of movement, status, and distraction, yes. But in that stripping, something else emerged. Discipline. Malcolm began to read voraciously. Doctrines, history, philosophy, religion. He copied entire pages by hand just to slow his thinking enough to absorb them. In a place designed to break men, he rebuilt himself, not emotionally, but mentally. This matters. Because from a Stoic perspective, this is the turning point. When a man realizes that even when everything external is taken, his mind remains his own. Malcolm did not leave prison with freedom. He left with structure. When he emerged, he joined the Nation of Islam and became its most electrifying voice. His speeches were sharp, disciplined, uncompromising. He rejected victimhood. He rejected submission. He spoke about dignity, self-command, responsibility, ideas that would have sounded familiar to Epictetus, even if the language was different. But here is where Malcolm becomes truly interesting. Because Malcolm X did not freeze. As his influence grew, so did his willingness to question his own beliefs. He began to see the limitations, the hypocrisies, and the power structures inside the movement that had given him his purpose. And unlike others, he didn't turn a blind eye. It is one thing to change your life. It is another to change your mind after the world has applauded you. Malcolm chose truth over comfort. He broke publicly away from the Nation of Islam, knowing full well what it would cost him: protection, status, safety. He travelled. He encountered Muslims of every race. He saw unity, not enforced by ideology, but by shared discipline and humility. And when he returned, he spoke differently. Less rage, more clarity. Less absolutes, more responsibility. From a Stoic standpoint, this is not weakness. This is moral courage. The courage to revise yourself, the courage to stand alone, the courage to accept the consequences of honesty. Malcolm knew he was marked. He said it openly. His house was firebombed. He received constant threats, but he continued anyway. Not because he believed he would win, but because he believed integrity mattered more than the outcome. This is a deeply Stoic idea, because Stoicism does not promise safety. It promises alignment between action and conscience. Malcolm X was assassinated in 1965 at the age of 39. He did not live long enough to see reconciliation. He did not live long enough to become comfortable. He did not live long enough to be softened by a legacy. But what he left instead was an example. A man who refused to be ruled by anger, then refused to be ruled by approval, and finally refused to be ruled by fear. He did not die for an abstract idea, definitely not. He died because he would not surrender his inner authority. And that is the thread that connects him, not to Stoicism as a doctrine, but to Stoicism as a way of standing in the world. Malcolm X reminds us that self-mastery is not about perfection. It is about refusing to lie to yourself, even when the truth costs you everything. And that may be the hardest discipline of all.